Good morning, ATD family. We are coming into the final not 9 days of baseball, 9 to 10 days of baseball. It is October is around the corner. Fall baseball is here. We are excited. Lots of changes, lots of close races. Things. This is why we love baseball. This is why the end of the season is always the best time because we get to see what teams can hold on and what teams are going to sink. It is Grand Slam Sam. It is baseball here. Welcome to another episode of ATD. We'll start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
You know what? I am good, man. We are going to have a crazy day today. We've got a softball game, about 50 people playing. It's going to be insane. Sam's catching the Concorde, leaving Philadelphia here in about an hour. So we're going to have to cut this episode a little short so he can be here to play. There is Vegas odds on whether or not I throw at him from the mound, but you'll just have to wait and see whether or not it happens or not.
That it is. That it is, my friend. We have to start the show off as we typically do by thanking our sponsors that allow us to do what we do on a weekly basis. First and foremost, we are going to thank the pizza store out there run by OC Local down in Orange County, California. Some great pizza. Bill says it competes with New York. I'm not so sure about that. We'll have to see. There, we're also thanking Moses Castillo Investigations for helping people, uh, being the voice of the voiceless out there in California and across the country with different investigative needs, to bring perpetrators to light in some way, shape, or form. And then, Bill, take me through our two new sponsors that we're
We
bringing to the.
got Marie Rubin, the realtor. Marie is absolutely amazing. She does a great job. She's based out of Newport Beach, but she covers all of Orange County. And then we have a company called Healing Through Conversations. This is typically a drug and alcohol abuse situation where the individuals or the individual that runs this actually sits down with people and helps them stay sober in any way, shape, or form. So we're excited to have both of the new sponsors available.
Yes, thank you as always for sponsoring ATD and TFR to allow us to do what we do, which is bring
Mhm.
the best baseball news to you, the fans that care to listen. Also want to give a shout out to everyone that is listening on Bleacher Brothers Radio. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Bill and I talk about baseball. And if you're not catching this on YouTube, make sure you go to the Top Fan Rivalry YouTube page, like, comment, subscribe, become a fan, watch us every week on YouTube. We put a lot of time and effort into bringing you some great stats, and we'd love to hear your feedback on how we're doing and what you want us to talk about. So make sure you get there, make sure you reach out, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff that you can do on YouTube.
All the good stuff.
Let's get into the standings. I'll take the AL this week. Blue
Yep.
Jays are still riding high. 3 game lead over the Yankees as we come into the last week of the season, 89 and 65. Red Sox are nipping on the heels of the Yankees. I think the Red Sox just want to overtake the Yankees at this point. I don't think they see themselves as taking the division. They just want to be at least a half a game over the Yankees as we head into the wild card. Rays, Orioles, see you next year. Great job. You competed. You put forth a valiant effort. You just weren't strong enough. Tigers holding tight on that lead in the AL Central, but that lead has drastically taken a humongous dip as the Guardians nip on their heels with the 2.5, with being 2.5 games back. Royals are breaking even at 500. Twins, White Sox, we'll see you next year. Great job. Keep it up. As we look at the West, the Mariners, my preseason prediction to win the
Mm.
AL West, have finally taken a 1 game lead over the Houston Astros at 85 and 69. Rangers have really started to sink. Um, they are 79 and 75, 6 games back in the division. There's still a chance, but it's a long shot chance. Angels, Athletics, see you next year. We appreciate your competition, but it just wasn't enough. Bill,
If
what are
if
your thoughts on the AL?
first of all, if you're watching this on Bleacher Brothers, the Angels are in last place, not the Athletics. Um,
Close enough.
they are
Get
the
this
Angels
point.
have lost 8 in a row, and yeah, a lot of Angel fans that I talk to, their heads are rolling. That's just kind of crazy. Blue Jays lose. We'll talk about a key component that they're going to lose, which will make their run in the playoffs significantly harder. The Guardians have won 9 in a row. They are only 2.5 back with the Tigers, with 3 games still to play with the Tigers, and then the Guardians finish their season off. They play 3 with Minnesota, so they have a makeup from. They have a doubleheader today, which is a makeup from a rainout, and then they play tomorrow against Minnesota as well, and then 3 with the Tigers and 3 with the Rangers, who by then may be out of it. So the Guardians could win that division, and that division could be a winner go home scenario. So it could be interesting. The American League is really, really tricky right now.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And as we talk about the wild card, real quick, Yankees hold a 2-game lead in the wild card, but again, the Red Sox are looking to take that lead away from them with this last week in the season. Astros and Red Sox currently are even. But again, the Guardians are in a fight for it, and the Rangers are in a fight for it. And as Bill just mentioned, if the Guardians can come back and take over the Tigers, unless the Astros drastically fall off in the next week, that's a win or go home scenario,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is huge. It will be very, very interesting to see the Astros just not make the playoffs. I think lots and lots of baseball fans who don't have had an affinity to hate the Astros over the last couple of seasons due to what happened a few years ago. Would love to see that happen.
yeah.
Love to see them not make it. Because we all know what happens when the Astros get into the postseason. They typically turn it into another level. So,
It'll be
Bill,
interesting.
National League.
So we've got 4 teams that have already clinched playoff spots in the National League, which that's not the case with the American League. The Phillies have already clinched their division. Congratulations. The Mets are actually turning it around a little bit. The Marlins are performing a lot better than most thought they would. The Braves underperformed this year, and the Nationals will be right back at it. They've got a lot of young kids. Brewers way overperformed what we thought was going to happen. The Cubs are right there on their heels, so the Cubs have clinched a wild card spot at least, but they're 6 games back of the Brewers. The Brewers are probably going to win that division. The Dodgers and Sam and I will have some interesting things to say about this when the season is over. At least Sam will. And the Dodgers have a
Just
4 game
for a
lead on the
week.
pot.
Remember that. It's just for a week.
It's for as long as that they're in,
No, oh, that's right. Well,
and
all know
and you
that
have some time to
we
make
all
up
know
too, since you'll be out.
we all know with their record, it could be in and out. So
We'll see. So the Dodgers are taking advantage of the Padres slipping. Arizona Diamondbacks are absolutely crushing it right now. The Giants are performing. I wish that I could say they were performing a little bit better. I but they've made a stretch run, so there's a lot of upside to the Giants. They are not out of it. They're out of the division, but they're not out of the wild card. There's a lot of upside, especially with what Buster's doing up there. Lot and lots and lots of upside for the Giants, which is hard for me to say. And the Rockies can get congratulations. They may be the only team in the National League to hit 100. Brewers have a shot.
losses.
So there you go.
Yeah,
Sam, National League.
Phillies, I mean, Phillies did what we expected them to do. I will say from my perspective, the Mets drastically underperformed for what we expected them to have done for who the personnel they have on that team.
Yes.
I the record that they have does not truly reflect the level of skill and talent on that team. And I would be remiss if I didn't say I could potentially see some personnel. changes in the dugout
We'll see.
going
We'll
into
see.
next year. My
There's some
opinion.
Mets fans that think that Pete Alonso is going to opt out after the end of his contract. I mean, at the end of the season.
I mean, I could see that too, but I'm thinking more in like a skip, like a coaching perspective, because
Very possible.
I just I don't see with that level of personnel and the amount of payroll that they have on them, you have to put them in the same consideration as you put the Dodgers. You expect them to win the division. You have the payroll to back them needing to win the division, and you need a manager that can get you to winning the division. That's just it. It is what it is. You know, if the Mets didn't have the payroll that they had, they overperformed. That's the difference. That's the problem. They don't have a manager that can help them you know, that can that is helping them perform at the level that you expect them to perform.
But
Um, I couldn't agree with you more. The Brewers drastically overperformed this year. I don't think anyone would have expected the Brewers to be 94 and 60, the best team in baseball at this moment in time. Um, I think most baseball fans saw the Brewers middle of the pack. Um, so it's great to see that doing what they're doing. But I will also say that in the last month, I have not seen that same performance out of them that I saw since right after the All-Star break to the end of August. So while they have the best record in baseball and they will probably get the top seed in the National League, uh, and get the bye in the first round, I could actually see them losing in the first round and getting knocked out. My opinion, just throwing it out there. Cubs would love to see the Cubs move, do what they're doing. Reds, I'm sorry, but better luck next year. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to make it. Um, Still a chance. I think the Mets will hold on to keeping that last slot. But I think the Reds have a ton of potential and upside to them, especially if one particular player in Philly whose contract ends this year decides he wants to go home and play for Cincinnati. Schwarbaum in the Reds uniform. Dodgers, performed at the level that we expected. Honestly, though, in my opinion, um, I and it pains me to say this, as Bill knows, it always pains for me to say stuff like this. I would have actually expected the Dodgers to have won more games than less. I actually projected the Dodgers to be in the slot the Brewers are in right now. And while I'm happy they're not, I'm also, as a baseball fan, upset of where they landed because to me they slightly underperformed what we expected them to do with the fact that they have the same exact roster as they had last year.
now, who are we talking about, Sam?
I said the Dodgers. I said it.
Are we? Are we? Okay, so you didn't want to do a preview of anything. Okay,
No,
I get
absolutely
it.
not.
I get
I'm
it.
holding off until I am forced to do it. And you stop it. You,
Oh,
you,
it's gonna
you
be
bite
so
your
fun.
freaking tongue, good sir. You bite your tongue. When we look at the wild card picture, though, Cubs have locked it up. Padres got a 3-game lead. Mets are at holding on to that last slot. Again, Reds are 2 games back. D-backs 3 games back. Giants are 4 games back. Anything could happen. Anything could change. However, looking at where we sit and the end of the season for these teams, I see the Mets holding on to it, and I see the teams that are currently there staying as the teams that are there.
That's probably true. And one of the things too, if you miss it by a game or 2 games, let's say you're the Reds, you have all off season to think about the things that went wrong, the things that were missed, the blown leads, and that's what makes baseball so brutal. The games in April matter just as much as the games in September do.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think, and my feeling is this: if you end within 5 games of a wild card slot, honestly, if you are within that top, 10 teams in your division going into the postseason or in your league, you had a phenomenal freaking season. You should be absolutely proud of yourself. The teams that made it, they played a little bit better and they were lucky enough to get there. The teams that were fighting for a spot, like the Giants, like the D-backs, like the Reds, you guys should be very encouraged as to the potential you have moving forward. And I think it's just adding to that potential because
Yes.
these anything can happen year over year. Injuries happen, personnel changes happen, retirements happen. Yeah, I threw that out there. Um, and it changes
Retirements
the
happen.
way, and it changes the way, you approach the next season and how you approach those teams. So I think if you end within your top 10 of your league, you should be absolutely proud of what you've done, no matter what. There's no reason to not be.
Remember what Derek Jeter said though. If you don't win the championship, it was a failed season.
Well, that's what Yankees have been saying since baseball's existence started. Oh, we lost. Oh, we didn't. We got all the way to the seventh game of the World Series and we didn't win it. This season was pointless. It was a waste. We never should have even played. Why did we spend all this
They didn't
money?
say they never should play. They just said Derek
Oh,
Jeter, Derek
you
Jeter, and Michael
might
Jordan,
not
two of the best
interpret it
athletes,
that,
say
but
that if you don't win a championship, you don't win.
As a Giants fan living on the East Coast, trust me, they've said it.
There you go.
Injury report, we're not going to go through all of them, but the biggest one on this injury report, and Bill and I are in firm agreement on this, is Bo Bichette out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. Bill, how is this injury going to impact the Blue Jays in the postseason?
Drastically, because the Blue Jays will have that first round bye. Well, they will if they win their division. They'll have the first round bye. So that'll give them some time to rest up, but it's going to hugely drastically impact them because the way that it sits right now, they could they could draw the Yankees or Red Sox in the first round of the actual playoffs, best of five. So who knows? I mean, that's a huge hole to fill.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, my friend. Couldn't agree with you more. Let's talk about stolen base leaders. We had 135 new stolen bases added to the counter, but Bill and I are as well, again, in firm agreement. There is no way, shape, or form we are beating last year, the current number to beat, which is 3,617. The current count is at 3,272. Still a ton of stolen bases, but not enough to break last year's record. Jose Caballero is still and will most likely end up as your stolen base leader unless Chandler Simpson decides every time he gets on base in the next week in a game, he's going to steal a base. And
Yeah.
Jose Caballero decides he breaks his leg between now and then.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. But what's interesting is that the Rays have something to build on there because they have two guys, and between both guys, they stole 90 bases.
Yeah. No, they're the number one and number two stolen base leaders in baseball. I think it's incredible to see what the Rays are doing there. They do have something to build off of from a record standpoint. You wouldn't see it, but from a talent standpoint, they've got the potential to build on that talent and add a couple of key pieces to help elevate that young talent that they have.
Yes.
And I think that's what's important with this team. I would like to say you have O'Neal Cruz on this list from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh drastically underperformed this year without even it's not even close. I see them bouncing back though and being more in the fight next year. Because when you have a team that has a player like Paul Skeens on it, you're expecting to win.
Yeah.
And
And how many
and
more years is Paul Skeens going to actually be there?
and that's the other question you have to think about. Pittsburgh needs to take a hard look at themselves in the mirror and say, do we invest and do we invest because we've got a player like Skeens who's a draw, and we need to go out and get other players to help with that draw and take us to the next level? Or do they say, let's unload Skeens, get a massive amount of value for him because he's young and he's got a lot of time left in his career and just start fresh. And I think the that's what the Pirates' primary thing is going to be this offseason. And we'll talk more about the offseason in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the next 2 weeks after this week, we will be off. But when we get back, we're going to start obviously looking at the what's going on in the playoffs, but we'll also start giving some previews as to what to expect from certain teams going into the postseason, going into the offseason. So keep that in mind. We want to hear what you think about your team and what they should be doing. Let's talk about the home run count. There is no question on this planet we're beating last year's home run count. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not. You're not wrong.
Um, Cal Riley, man, this guy, it's just been unfreaking real. 56 home runs, but Schwarbomber or Schwarbombing still in Philly. Might be taking those traits to another city next year, but for right now, Philadelphia has been having the pleasure of his 53 home runs. Shohei, though, is trying to, at the bare minimum, take the number two spot in the home run count and overtake Kyle Schwarber as the number two home run leader and the number one home run leader in National League. Aaron Judge, there's no way you're hitting 9 home runs and Cal Riley hitting none in the next week. So you will stay down there as the number two home run hitter in all of the American League. Uh, Bill, do you think we'll ever break the 5,800 number?
Yeah, I do. I think we've got a very, very good shot for it for sure. Um, I'm trying to look up a stat because there's an interesting stat that um, is the case. But yes, do I think we'll do it? Yes, 100%.
How long, how long do you think it's going to take until we're able to break that number?
Well, it depends. I've been offered a contract with several teams. So as long as I can get up and get in there, we should be able to do it the first year that I'm there. Because I will hit myself, I'll probably hit 150, 200 of them.
So you're going to hit a home, you're more or less going to hit a home run every game you play, you're saying.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much guaranteed.
So
That's
you're
that's who I
expecting your
am.
batting average to be in the 600 range?
No, because it'll be home run or nothing. Because I really don't want to have to run the bases. So my batting average will be about 112, but I will hit a bunch of home runs.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, Interesting stat that we got to point out with Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani has done something that I don't know that anybody else has ever done in the history of baseball, and that is record 50 or more strikeouts as a pitcher and hit 50 or more home runs. I have to verify that as an actual thing, but I'm almost positive that that's the case. I was looking up Babe Ruth stats, and Babe Ruth, when he started hitting 50 home runs, he was in New York, and he wasn't pitching when he was in New York. So I'm pretty confident that Shohei Ohtani is the first player. Not only did he go 50-50 last season, but he's the first player to ever go 50 strikeouts, 50 home runs.
I mean, we all knew that man would make history, so it's not surprising in the least.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
We're going to drop once again, thank our corporate sponsors that support TFR and ATD to allow us to do what we do on a weekly basis and bring you the best baseball stats. Moses Castillo Investigations, the pizza store run by OC Local, Healing Through Conversations, and Marie Rubin, the realtor. Thank you all for supporting ATD and TFR to allow us to do what we do and bring you all the best baseball stats and news around the league.
Yes.
Bill, you brought this topic to me, and I think it's one that needs to be talked about even more. So let's talk about the Guardians pulling within 3 games of the Tigers. Why is this so important?
I don't know that I don't know that it is important, but I think so from a baseball perspective. Remember about 2 weeks ago, the Guardians were behind Kansas City uh, in the standings. Kansas City kind of fell apart, but it was the Guardians were about 9 or 10 back. And at one point in early August, Detroit had a lead of like 12 games.
Yep.
Now Detroit's down to 2.5 games. They still have 3 games left to play with the Guardians. If Cleveland can pick up one more game on them and then hit that 3 gamer right there, you could see some fireworks.
100%. Is there it- what do you think has been the cause of this major turnaround for the Guardians this year to get back into the fight this late in the game?
So it's a team effort. A lot of people are not paying attention to Cleveland outside of Cleveland just because they haven't had, they are not the Indians slash Guardians of the 90s, where you had Jim Thome and um, you had guys like Alomar, you had Thome, you had Manny Ramirez, you had a bunch of these guys, kind of big headliners. A lot of these guys are younger, and nobody's talking about the Hall of Fame career stats that Jose Ramirez is putting up right now. I mean, this guy's putting up stat upon stat upon stat, which is insane and incredible. So, yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. Do you see Jose Ramirez? I mean, he's a third baseman. Do you see him? And I don't know how much longer his current contract is. I'm trying to find that with the Guardians. So he's available under contract with the Guardians through the 2028 season. With the numbers he's putting up now, do you see the Guardians giving him an extension at the end of this season to keep him for an extra 2 or 3 years, or do you think they play out his contract and then make a decision in the final year of his contract?
I might wait one more year. I might wait one more year, and just let him just kind of ride and coast into it. Uh, his contract will end at age 35. So next year he's age 33. If you give him an extension for another 2 years after that, you bring him to age 37. Um, I mean, and let's be honest, this is a guy right now who has 1,658 hits, all with Cleveland. He's got 284 um, home runs. So right now he's on pace to have about 350 or so home runs,
Yeah.
maybe close to 400 home runs when that contract ends with over 2,000 hits. So you kind of let him dictate what he wants to do. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think the Guardians will offer him something. I don't know that. And Cleveland is on the upswing right now, where they really, really want to play well.
Yeah, 100%. Earlier this week, well, not actually earlier this week, just a couple of days ago, a legend currently active in the game of baseball has said
Whoa,
that
what was the L word that you just used there? I agree with you, but what was the L word?
legend.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we got that right.
I have no problem admitting it. Just like you would admit certain baseball players on the Giants are legends. Don't play like that you wouldn't say it.
You mean the Tigers?
No, I said the Giants.
You mean that he's going to finish his career as a Tiger?
No, that guy I'm not saying is a giant legend. He is not a giant legend. I'm talking about players on the Giants that played their entire careers on the Giants.
Like first ballot Hall of Famer Brandon Belt?
Absolutely.
There you
Duh.
go. As long as we're clarifying.
Second ballot Hall of Famer Brandon Crawford.
There you go.
Absolutely. We have to give, and as a baseball fan, I have to give my kudos to Clayton. What's Clayton's middle name?
I don't know. I think it's Edward. I think it's Edward.
That's Clayton Kershaw. I mean, what this man has done in his career is just unbelievable. I'm not going to go through all of the stats on that I have put up here. If you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio, make sure you get to YouTube and check this out on YouTube. You can see everything there. But there are
Yep.
just a few key ones I want to just call out, which I think are really crazy. He has a almost 700 win percentage in his career.
Mhm.
He has played 453 games, but was only not a starter in 3 of them, which I think is insane.
Mhm.
He is a member of the 3,000 strikeout club, an honor in itself. You could retire just off that and make it to the Hall of Fame. He's only given up 235 home runs is in his entire professional pitching career as a Dodger. 235 home runs in 18 seasons. Those numbers are ridiculous. And he has more shutouts than any other active pitcher in baseball today. That is including players like Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. Bill, this is a guy that you've literally seen grow up in your organization. You told me a lot of things about him. Give me like your top two like highlights of his professional career that you've been fortunate enough to witness yourself.
So I watched his no hitter against Colorado a few years ago. And when he finally got it, he just raised his hands. And then the first year the Dodgers had won the World Series in 2020, he was actually in the bullpen. Dave Roberts was actually going to bring him in to close it out, just to let him be the guy. He was actually in the bullpen. He was the first person out on the field. He was running out of that bullpen. And just like last year, he was really geeked about last year. So those are a couple of memories I have of him. A couple other stats, Sam, that you mentioned is he's started 450 games. He's only lost 96 of those games, less than 100 losses. Also, too, uh, you look at his shutouts, 15 shutouts in his career. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot if you base it against like Drysdale or Koufax, but back in those days, if you didn't finish your game, people were looking at you like, what's wrong with you? And
Yeah.
so Clayton did a great job. He had a great career. I know that people like to say, oh, well, he wasn't very good in the playoffs. Listen, eh, he's got two rings. You could argue that he should have had a third, right? And, you know, the guy has over 3,000 strikeouts and has less than 100 losses in an 18-year career. And like Sam pointed out, almost a 700 winning percentage. Stop it, guys. What more does this guy need to do? This is first ballot. I want to see who doesn't vote for him. I want to see if he's unanimous or not.
I think he will be unanimous, which again is as painful for me to say as it is. I think it will be. Um, Last quick question: What do the Dodgers do? Stop crying. It will be okay. The Dodgers will be fine.
Yeah.
What are the Dodgers going to do? Who is going to come in and be the replacement for this man? Do they go with someone in the farm or do they go shopping?
No, they've got plenty of people in the farm. They've got guys like Landon Knack, who came up and pitched last season a little bit, who's pitched a little bit this season. You got to remember, even though Clayton was not playing as much as he did in his career, he was in that dugout coaching these younger kids. So the
Yeah.
Dodgers have a bunch of people like Emmett Sheehan, who we're starting to see more of,
Mhm.
right? But when you've got Shohei, you've got Yamamoto, you got Tyler Glass now there, and Blake Snell. You got a guy like um, Emmett Sheehan. Boom.
Let's talk Blake Snell, the injured man. The man that can't stay healthy for an entire season.
Did you see his last start?
I didn't see his last start.
We'll talk about that offline because we're running out of time. But I got to tell you what he did. I thought it was very interesting. Very
Oh, when he
interesting.
shook off Dave Roberts and said, "No, I'm getting the last out."
Hmm.
I did
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Clayton, as a Giants fan, I can't be happier to see you go because you've always been a Giants killer. Um, but I am so pleased and thankful to have been able to see your career from the start and what you've grown into as a player, as a man, as a professional. It's truly been a blessing to watch what you've done for this game. Um, I just now hope they can do a refresh of the iconic cover of Tim Lincecum giving you a noogie,
Yeah.
and put that on Sports Illustrated. That would be hilarious. But congratulations on a phenomenal career. You rightfully deserve it. Go take your flowers and walk off on the beach into the sunset, knowing that you have done what many pitchers wish they could do in their careers. Bill, quickly take me through your schedule because, like you said, we're wrapping
Oh,
up.
it's a great schedule this week. American League with Ashley is Monday. Tuesday, we have Tora or Toria. from across the pond. She is from England, huge Mets fan. We've had her on before. Dave Hummel, Phillies fan. Kenny coming back as an Orioles fan, talking about what they need to do. And can we just say that Jen Mahoney does not come on as a Texas Rangers fan, but the first ever, Sam, Top Fan Rivalry NBA podcast. That's right. Jen Mahoney, if and I'm not going to publish it on YouTube, but she actually took the interview because she works for the Spurs from the Spurs locker room.
Oh, that's cool.
That was very cool. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yes, so there you go.
I'm waiting for the first football podcast. I am
Next
more than
season.
happy to be your first football podcast guest.
Next season. You will be.
It'll be
You
nice to be able to talk about a sport where hopefully my team will be doing much better.
Hey, I'm a Raiders fan, so I got nothing to cheer about.
That's fair. Um, we got
In the
Brian
leagues.
and we got Brian on Monday for In the Leagues and Phil from who's a Mets fan.
Yes.
I would say
Yes.
Phil the Phillies fan, but it's Phil the Mets fan
No,
on
Mets fan.
Thursday In the Leagues on Instagram. Make sure you're checking that out. No break this week. Bill
No
and
break.
reined themselves in the case break last week, so we are not doing another break this week, so we are taking a week off. But we want to thank our sponsors once again, Healing Through Hands, the pizza store,
Going through conversations.
Healing Through Conversations, the pizza store, Moses Castillo Investigations, and Marie Rubin, the realtor, for supporting ATD and TFR. Any final comments you want to give to the fans out there, Bill, as we wrap this up?
No, just make sure that you're joining the clubhouse. It's free to join. There's going to be a lot of content that's going to be back there. We are ramping that up. There's a lot of fun things that we're going to be talking about, but make sure you're joining the Top Fan Rivalry clubhouse. Free to get in. It's not the locker room. It's free to get in, and there's a lot of fun stuff that will be back there in the very, very near future. Besides for that, Sam, go fight, win.
Love it as always. Thank you so much for joining ATD this week. Make sure you're checking out topfanrivalry.com for the new articles, podcast, merch, the t-shirt, and 27-ounce card club, the exclusive member events. Join the Top Fan Rivalry Clubhouse. It's free to join. And be on the lookout for the posts we put up about TFR FanFest this coming January in Las Vegas. It's going to be awesome. As always, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you on the field next week or 2 weeks.